Howdy there, nerds and nerdettes. Welcome into another stream with me, Fluent Code, here in the UK, where we are painting spoopy ghosts. That's right. Just bear with me 1 second. I've just got to shut the door. Hold on. Oh, right. That's right. We're back. We are back now. I've actually had quite a productive couple of days. So yesterday, unfortunately, I couldn't stream yesterday because of, well, basically oh, hang on, let me just turn that up a little bit. Get the background music set. I spent a good portion of yesterday evening trying to ensure that nobody from my company went to prison for some crap that happened on a site. So unfortunately, no stream yesterday, which means you have me tonight. However, I have been doing a little bit of work in the background since you last saw us, and as an example of that, here we are. We are slowly working on our Nighthaunt. We've got a whole bunch of these Nighthaunt models to paint and turn round before Halloween. That was the project that we've set ourselves. Well, thank you very much. So as part of that, I decided that I needed to learn how to use an airbrush. So that's what I've been up to in the evenings and what have you. And then today, during the day, I thought I'm going to sit down and I'm going to break out some of the contrast paints and we'll get a few of these little bits and pieces started off and sorted out. Now, I haven't done too much of it. Good evening, Disaster Druid. Welcome in. It's lovely to see you here. How the devil are you? So yeah, this is Lady Jamie Oliver, Alinda. I think it's Lady Alinda, isn't it? The creepy, weird. Just being able to see that face. Can you see that on the camera? It's incredibly hidden there, but you can just see the eye. Everything is sculpted underneath this draped cloth, and it's just magnificent. I'm actually quite looking forward to painting this. So we've been working on the Nighthaunts today. Let's show you a couple of examples of where we've got to so far. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, this is where we've got to so far. So I've been teaching myself to airbrush. And then I broke out the contrast paints today just to start covering all of the areas where we're going to eventually be doing an oil wash. So I'm kind of trying some new techniques for me, which is interesting. You know, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks and what have you, but we are trying. So we've built everything up to a sort of white colour. Everything fades off into the background a little bit with the base and the like, but we have managed to build up. And then I've come in with the contrast paints to cover up this white with an apothecary white contrast. Thank you very much. And skeleton horde on the arms and the skull face. So today on stream, what we're planning to do is just lock in a bit more of this progress before I have to take the whole lot. And when I say the whole lot, I'm not joking. This is just the first batch. So we have a proper mountain of figures here to be working on. Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll take this down to the shed and get, so once we've undercoated with all of the contrast paints, we'll take the whole lot down to the shed and we'll give them a spray of gloss varnish, and that gloss varnish will lock these colors in, and it means that when we come back and we slop our oil wash, this magical looking gunk in a jar here, yes, and that's not even half of what we're doing. That is not even half of the project. The rest of it is untouched, sat on the shelf up there, ready to have the same treatment. But I thought I would pick a good bunch, a good mix of the figures, and we'd get started on them. Speaking of getting started, that's right, contrast paint, our favourite. Yeah, so we'll gloss varnish it all, then we'll go and cover it in the forbidden coffee. Sorry, the brown one. The brown one is forbidden coffee, isn't it? I don't know if you can see the brown one. The brown one tends to separate out more. So this is oil paint suspended in like white spirits, and for some reason, I don't know whether it's the cheap oil paint or the cheap white spirits or whatever it is that I'm using, but they do tend to separate out quite a lot. It's nothing a good shake doesn't fix. You shake it, it goes back to normal, but they do tend to separate out a bit. So here we are. We're gonna have a play with our 3D printed pot holder. Look at that. Not that kind of pot. Before you think this is a regular old paint pot rather than delicious weed. Okay. Now see, that's exactly why I need a pot holder, because I nearly sent it flying there, didn't I? Right, and all we're going to do is slap on this apothecary white over everything that is arguably white. It won't be white for too long. We are going to dull it down quite considerably when we go ahead and grab that oil wash, but we want to be starting from a place of brightness, because otherwise we can't. So what I jabber on like everybody knows exactly what I'm planning and what I'm going to do, when I realise that certainly some of my audience don't know, and that's fine. That's fine. We are all learning. I think most of the reason that people drop by is because they're interested in miniature painting. That doesn't mean that you know everything. So the oil wash is, we take that liquid that I just showed you in the old pasta sauce jar, because you know I needed a jar and the pasta sauce one was what I had available. So you take that liquid and you literally just flack that all over the model. You cover the entire thing, and honestly, when you do it for the first time, it scares the shit out of you, because you've spent quite a lot of time on that model, and suddenly you realize that, oh shit, I have literally just covered it in black oil paint. And oil paint is scary stuff, believe me. It takes forever to dry, and what we're doing will take a good 24 hours to dry. So we cover the whole model with that oil wash. It will take 24 hours to dry, and then we come back with, now the Americans amongst us want to call them Q-tips, but they're cotton buds. We come back with cotton buds dipped in the same white spirit or mineral spirits that we use to to make the oil wash. So we come back with a cotton bud dipped in white spirits, and then we just start to roll it over the surface, and it takes the high points off. So where we have light stuff, it will re-expose that light stuff. Where we have dark stuff, or you know, where we're into the crooks and crevices, it will leave it with this sort of delicious black colour. I'm proper looking forward to it. It's hard to explain, but once you've seen it, you'll get what we were going for. But it's a real scary. I'll tell you what's a scary process is painting these goddamn things when they will not sit still. I'm going to try and get some of the inner side of these sort of coattails. Like I say, this is all going to be darkened down a lot, but I want there to be something there for when we wick it away. God, this thing just shaking around like it's got epilepsy or something. Do hope. Oh, hang on. That's not been put together very well, has it? I might have to see if I can come along and nip that up together. I didn't do any of the assembly on these models. I bought them all assembled. I had a Facebook Marketplace miracle, which was I bought hundreds and hundreds. Evening Moulding, how are you? How's the sick note going? I bought hundreds and hundreds of pounds worth of these Nighthaunt models, luckily for £100, 100 Great British pounds. And I thought, oh, do you know what? That will be absolutely perfect for a holiday Halloween special. Holiday Halloween. Just normal Halloween, isn't it? A Halloween special of spooky ghosts. So that's actually why we're doing this stream at all. Hey. But yeah, they were all assembled before I bought them. So I've kind of just got to suck it up, because there is no way that I'm going to try to disassemble these guys. Because could you imagine how frustrated? Oh God, my eyes are going weird because it's shaking around like a. And you can't really hold it steady either. And it won't fit on my painting handle. So I've kind of got to hold the model by the base. I'm complaining a lot here about something that you guys probably don't care about. You just shut up and get on with painting. But it's quite difficult. I was worried that your comment about itching was going to go somewhere else. I was like, oh God, he's not got something else wrong with him, has he? Yeah, I'll bet. It's never nice being poorly sick, and yeah, I can imagine that you just want to get back to normal, get out there and get some of your regular life back. Oh shit. Well, in that case, Druid, I will carry on complaining. It's just second nature now. Oh. I hope you're looking forward to tomorrow. I've I've done absolutely no prep work. When I said it was a no prep session, this one is probably the worst out of all of them to handle. It's quite a large volume of model attached by this spindly fucker here. So as you can appreciate, it's like a googly head. Yeah, so tomorrow is not just for you guys a no prep session, it's also for me. Part of the joy of it, part of the ease of the session is the fact that there's no map, there's no difficult encounters or anything to run and to manage. So it's just simply a session of fun, theatre of the mind, location descriptions on the fly, and roll with it. Basically, I've got the basic scenario, but what you guys do with it is kind of interesting, kind of up to you. So we'll run with it. It might not be a full, you know, the longest session that we've ever done. We might end up actually finishing a little bit early for a change, rather than keeping the cafe staff there till the very end, but fingers crossed it goes quite well. Okay, that is enough of the apothecary white. I'm going to set that to one side now. I've only got a couple more models to do the white on, so I'll get all of those done. And then what we're probably going to do is start painting the metal on these, because the metal is quite a large portion of these models, and probably quite a fun portion of these models as well. So hopefully, yeah, I think it'll be nice after some of the fairly intense scenes that we often get up to in our D&D sessions, to just sort of sit back and just do a chill one. Like I say, it's been a while since I've run it, so I am hoping it all goes as well as I remembered it doing, but I'm sure you guys will help out where I need it, sort of thing. We'll see how it goes. I don't think we'll have any particular problems, but yeah, it's a shame that you couldn't be there, but unfortunately, if you could, then we wouldn't be running it anyway, because it's a fill-in session. So if you could make it, then we wouldn't be running that, and vice versa. And that wasn't, yeah, that sounded like a dig. Get better soon. Get well. Right, one. Now these are blade something or others. I think you can see what I was trying to go with. Howdy JB, welcome into the stream. I hope you're having a fantastic weekend so far. I hope all is well with you and you've had a good end to the week. You join us as we are slapping contrast paint all over our spooky ghosts. That's right. I'll tell you what, I'm a bit miffed that I didn't spot or take care of some of the mold, like the ejection points and what have you beforehand. Because like there's a seam there that I really could have gone. There's a little ejection port there, and I'm like, oh man, I hope that that doesn't detract too much from the end result of these models, because if it does, I'll be really gutted actually, because I'm quite enthusiastic about how they're coming out. JB, you'll be pleased to hear I did manage a little session on the airbrush. I didn't film it, I wasn't ready to have everyone's judgmental eyes upon me as I gaffed and spilt stuff and made a mess and what have you everywhere. So I thought, do you know what, I'm just going to have a little evening with a bit of time with the airbrush, and this is the sort of results that we've got coming along. It's not perfect, but it is the general effect that I was after, and it will work quite nicely when we get to the point of oil washing, and then that will really help to blend some of these lovely colors and shades that we've got going on all together. I think the contrast paint is actually going to help with that as well, to be fair. Yes, Disaster. Unfortunately, I haven't built the storyline with any built-in traitors, but I'm sure if you did want to turn traitor against your party and ruin it for them, then there is going to be opportunity to do that at some point. We'll figure something out to, you know, to indulge your specific style of game. I'm joking. I'm just never going to let you live it down. Don't worry, it'll get less and less funny for me. I'm sure it's not funny for you at all. So it'll get less and less funny for me, and then eventually I'll drop it. And by that time you'll be ready to do it again. So yes. Charlie has his own crimes to answer for, to be fair. And they are many and various, so we'll get round to those at some point. But also Charlie doesn't join in on the stream, so he's not here to defend himself. I can't remember if I got through explaining how the oil wash was going to work. The smearing black paint over everything, shitting yourself, waiting 24 hours for it to sort of dry off a little bit, and then starting to wick it away is a process all in of itself. And one that I've not really done before. So I am kind of bricking it when it comes to that, to be fair, because it is one of those, oh shit, what have I done? But fingers crossed we can make that work as well. Well, silly goose. it only really works once you've got everything painted, because if you do it before then, when you rub away the black, it doesn't leave anything. So the idea is that you paint the black over all of the paintwork that you've already done, and then you come along and rub it away. So yeah, you kind of have to have done all the work before you apply the black, at which point you're putting black paint over everything. And I've seen the theory, and to be fair, I did try a little bit with this guy, who wasn't done over gloss varnish. This was done just over paint. Yes, JB, that's what this session is for. This session is to get a lot of our base colours in place, and then I will take these all off for a wonderful little holiday in the shed where I'll be spraying a gloss varnish over everything, then back up here to apply the black wash, and then we can thoughts and prayers for the paint job underneath. But yeah, absolutely, I'm glad you know all those things that I will be sure to forget. It's the sort of thing where I'd break out the black wash and you'd yell, "No, you've forgotten the varnish." But yeah, that is the plan. I bought some Vallejo airbrush gloss varnish. We'll hopefully have decent results with that. I've got a cheap sort of generic branded one. But I thought, oh, do you know what? The time that we're investing in this, yeah, I've got a matte varnish as well. So I was hopefully planning that there will be a little bit more brushwork afterwards. So we'll hit it with a matte varnish, and then we've got a little bit of final highlights and bits and pieces to pick out. So that is all of our that's all of the white apart from this one. Now I don't think I'm going to do the white. Actually, I might do it on these weapons. Or not. Do I do it on the weapons or not? The reason being is that these little ghosties here and what have you are going to be, I've got a shade for them. I've got a Poxwalker shade that I'm hoping, and this is risky, but I'm going to decant that into a dropper bottle, and then I'm going to apply that via airbrush, slightly thinned, just onto these. So we'll hit, once everything is done, we'll hit these with another final white blast with the airbrush, and then we'll spray this Poxwalker shade over them, and that will hopefully give us a sort of spooky ghost glow. That's what we're aiming for. And then also the bits of, let's call them tendril, ectoplasm, whatever you want to call it, the bits that are right down at the bottom of the model where it touches the base and where it passes through any scenery, they're also going to be a little blast of that, and then the Poxwalker shade on it. Now I will admit that I got the recipe off of Reddit, or you know, somebody's pictures. We posted those pictures up here a stream or so ago with our inspiration post. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. So I'm going to leave the ghosts. I'm not going to apply the white contrast paint to the spirit host. What we do have to do is, what have we got left? We've got some red on the, I don't know quite what to call these gals. Oh, I've missed a, I might need to go back and pick some of these bits out in white again first before we paint them, because there's some vines in there that really I wanted to be green, and then maybe there's some vines down on other bits as well. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We are going to switch over to metal. Normal paints, not contrast paints. That's right, folks. We are still able to paint with normal paints on the stream. We have that ability. We have the technology. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop open our lead belcher and start hacking away. There's a nice big lump of that, isn't there? Right, I think we're going to want this one. As you can tell, I tend to use a fairly large brush. This is a... Actually, I've no idea if the range uses the sort of correct sizing that other, you know, brush places and what have you use, but that's what we're using. We are using a grand old brush from the range. Right, I'm going to add just a tiny droplet of water to that because I want this to flow quite nicely, be quite thin. And we have got a rust effect as well. I bought the Army Painter Dark Rust, so we will be trying that out on a lot of the metal work here as well. So we will certainly be fulfilling the very, very grimdark aspect of things. So dirty metal, rust, spooky ghosts. I don't think it can get much more grimdark than that. In fact, I'm not entirely sure that I can handle all the grimdark, because grimdark is very much not my normal style. If you're a regular on the channel, you might be thinking, what the fuck are you doing? Because normally we're all about the sort of quite clean second edition style minis, which have a very old school and old style of painting to them. But yeah, certainly for Halloween, we're going to have to join the modern age. Right, I think that's actually quite nice, that metal colour. I will just do a tiny little pop up on these bolt heads up here. So we don't have masses of this metalwork to do on every model. It will only be certain models have more than the norm, but it would just be a case of trying to pick them all out and then these should come up beautifully under the oil wash, along with possibly a little bit of our favourite Agrax. We might try a little bit of Agrax Earthshade on there as well. Now our chain rasps, unsurprisingly, with them being chain rasps, actually have our largest concentration of metals, and these models are coming up looking quite nice already, to be honest with you. We've got a little bit of cloak going on, we've got a little bit of bone going on. Now we're going to have a bit of metal. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing how these guys turn out. Now, a lot of this will tend to look quite slapdash. I'm going big brush, get it on. And there is a reason for that. With the grimdark look that we're going for, and the way we're going to achieve it with the oil wash, spending hours and hours being incredibly neat at this stage won't pay off. There's no payoff to taking longer than we particularly need. So it's a poor way of thinking about it, but essentially everything that we paint here is going to be covered with a heavy black oil, which we're then going to be rubbing it back. So anything that gets into the sort of, you know, tiniest little splash onto the cloak, so a little bit of this metallic paint onto the cloak doesn't hugely matter, because when we come to rub off the oil wash, we just be careful where we rub, and the bit that's, you know, the bit of cloak that's right next to the metal will probably remain covered in black anyway. So we can save ourselves a bit of time here, and hopefully keep our sanity by the end of the project, because painting stuff like this, large scale, over and over, miniature after miniature, it does make you lose your sanity a bit. Now, the metallic paint that we're using is Lead Belcher. It's quite a dark metallic, so it will take quite nicely to this process, and it will take the rust effect quite nicely as well. And apart from a few little areas, I probably won't be doing an awful lot of contrasting metal. So I might just paint in the quillions there of the sword in a Retributor Gold or something like that. But other than that, I probably won't do much in the way of other metal colours. Oh, that's really awkward. I can't actually get at that. But black oil wash to save the day. Don't worry about it. It will. That's one of the things that I'm talking about. So that little tiny bit that I've just spilt or just happened to fuck up there, the oil wash will fix it. The tiny bit of the back of this handle that I can't reach, the oil wash will fix it. This bit that I'm actually painting in there, I probably won't be able to wash the oil wash over it, so it's wasted time. I probably shouldn't have bothered. But hopefully the effect will look stunning once it's done. That's what I need to concentrate on. Is the I'm a bit worried that I'm lazy painter. Everyone's going to go, oh, you know, you've used cheats and what have you to get that. But I'm actually I don't really care. I think the end result is going to look quite good, and hopefully that's all that matters. Some of the posing on these chain rasps is fantastic, to be honest with you. They are like the basic troopers in the army, but man, they're a good looking basic trooper. This might be one of those areas that we will use a contrasting metallic colour. We'll keep the steel silver colour on the shaft, but the candle holders we might actually do in a gold. I did hear quite an interesting story this weekend about a subject that I have a little bit of an interest in because of my enjoyment of what 3D printing has brought back to my hobby. I've got a new filament printer, a bamboo, which is just an absolutely stunning little device. It's just incredible. Out of the box, it just works. Now I know that's a meme, a Todd Howard. It just works. But this little printer was just so nice. I got it at a discount. It was a cheap enough little thing. I think it was about 180 quid, something like that. So it's not, you know, it's not cheap, but it's certainly not expensive when you think about what it can do. the biggest thing for me is my daughter finds it incredible. She just loves this thing. She'll come out and she'll sit in the shed with me and we watch it printing away. And so yeah, I've got this filament printer in addition to the fairly long-term ownership of a resin printer, which I don't really use that much these days. But when I did, it was mostly printing Games Workshop. Well, for me, it was mostly printing scans of Games Workshop. So exactly the thing that Games Workshop are petrified about, but mostly old stuff that they no longer care about. I mean, they certainly care about scans of modern stuff. That shit petrifies them, and they go out of their way to shut down file sharing sites, and rightly so. You know, it is direct infringement upon their IP. What isn't direct infringement upon their IP is people making proxies. People such as, now obviously dropping names of 3D sculptors and what have you in this is not going to mean anything to anyone who hasn't been around the industry, but there's a guy out there called Gamak, and he does some actually really incredible proxies of GW stuff, and some of them do sail a little close to the wind, if I'm honest with you. They are very, very close to Games Workshop products, but probably enough to count as legally distinct. And legally distinct is therefore legally on pretty good ground. Games Workshop have issued cease and desists, or not just cease. They've actually started legal proceedings against this guy, but they haven't specified which of his catalogue is at issue. They've simply requested that he take down thousands of models under the guise of unfair competition, in that making models that are compatible with Warhammer is unfair competition. And I'm like, okay, that opens up a real minefield in the third party world. And I as I've said many a time, Games Workshop and I have come to an understanding that I am a terrible customer, they are a terrible company. So we had our good times and then we went our separate ways. But that shit, no, I don't like that shit. I think that is massive overreach of a type that they have actually been punished legally for in the past, and it didn't do them well back then, and it won't do them well now to go after third parties like that who are making something that can be used in 40k but isn't a direct a direct copy of one of. I don't even understand what they're. The previous court case was a company called Chapter House, and Chapter House were making direct basically direct Space Marine models. They were making they actually had a Eldar Fars, or I don't think they called it Eldar, but they had a Farseer on jet bike, and rightly so. The courts went, no, that's a protected item, you know, a copyright protected piece. You can't sell a Farseer on jet bike unless you're Games Workshop, because Games Workshop own the copyright to Farseer, and well, that was about as far as it went, actually, because they don't own the copyright to jet bike, because jet bike has been a term in science fiction for probably longer than Games Workshop has. And so that was part of the reason why everything ended up with stupid, overly long names, and, you know, weird naming conventions, and orcs are no longer orcs, but they're aurochs, and crap like that. Because basically, because Games Workshop realized that they needed legally distinct copyrightable terms for all of their models. And I just think that you end up in shit. But they got slapped down, saying that they couldn't have miniature, for example. They tried to copyright the term miniature, and that only Games Workshop would be able to sell miniatures. And it's like, no, that's not a term that you're actually able to copyright. Certainly not you, because you guys were not the first. So I'm a bit peeved that Games Workshop are losing their way again and going down the route of the big bad legal entity rather than the nice happy company that I grew up with. I suppose that's what happens when you lose your market share and shit like that. Although I don't actually think that they've I don't actually think that they're losing anything. I think that they are in an incredible position at the moment. Probably a better position than they've ever been in. Anyway, that's my yearly Games Workshop rant over and done with. I promise you, you can come out from behind the sofa and you're free for another 12 months, guaranteed. Look, why would you sculpt that freaking chain right up his spine there? Look, just don't sculpt that bit. God damn it. There are some very, very awkwardly positioned bits of the sculpt, but we'll work our way around them. I think we're going to need to refresh our paint there on the palette. We might have enough to get this guy done. They're not going to take forever, but it is a process with these guys because the chains and the metalwork is so well mixed in with the rest of the model that we do have to take a little bit of time. Now, we will try and remember what we said, that we don't actually have to be super neat. Black wash that we put over all of this the oil wash, is going to eat a lot of these details, and then when we hit it with the cleanup, that's when it will become it'll become bright and shiny again, although it won't be very bright and shiny. Oh, that's a nicer mix, isn't it? Right, next one. I don't actually know how many of these chain rasps we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 18 there, which is awkward because it's not 2 full units. But I have got more on the shelf, and some of these were actually only supposed to be my tester models, but the test models kind of just dropped by the wayside, and we just started painting, which is probably not how I would advise you to do it. I do strongly advise test miniatures when you are going out of your way to paint a whole bunch of stuff like this. I mean, we have actually got over 100 models to paint before Halloween, and with the way that we're progressing, I actually think that we might do it. Look, what are we now? We're the 11th. Is it the 11th today? I think it's the 11th today, isn't it? Yes, the 11th. So we've got 3 weeks before Halloween. I think that's doable. I think that we'll certainly give it a bloody good shot anyway. There's my watch telling me that I'm a lazy bastard and I should get up soon. Unfortunately, I can't explain to my watch that streaming is exercise. It doesn't seem to believe me. Okay. I'm a little bit worried that we've lost some of the warm tones. So where we've put that, what do they call it? Apothecary white on all of the cloaks. It's made it very cold. It's taken it to a very blue shade of white, and it is quite a cold colour. So I do think we've lost any of the warmth, but I don't feel that we're actually hoping to get a very warm feel out of this army. One of the inspirations I had a very lovely autumnal warmth to it. Still spooky grimdark, but it had a sort of almost like a fiery undead sort of presence to it. And obviously this other one that we've used for inspiration doesn't really have that. It's much colder, but I think that's going to equally be as good. Now this is probably my favourite pose out of all of these chain rasps. I just feel that this gap here is just such a beautiful modelling achievement. They've just created this awesome ghost type. Yeah, I very much like that. I think that's a very, very cool model. Howdy Caveman, welcome in. I appreciate the lurk. Thank you very much, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I really do like the pose on this model. I think that's probably my favourite chain rasp. You've got to have favourites, haven't you? You can't just go, oh, they're all my favourites. You know, it's like when people do it and they say they haven't got a favourite child. Rubbish. Everyone's got a favourite child. I'm quite lucky because I've only got one to choose from. Yes, those sharp-eyed amongst you will notice that this is another of the same pose. Because, yeah, we've got at least 2 squads of these. Well, I say at least. We haven't. We've got 1.8 squads of these on the board at the moment. And then we've got another few chain rasps to go in the lineup, and then we also have the ones were part of the Underworlds box set. I think it was Underworlds, which was like I think it was like a Necromunda for Warhammer Fantasy, something along those. Oh no, it was more like a board game, I think. You play on a weird little map. I'm sure somebody might correct me if I'm completely wrong with that, but it sort of resembled a board game to my mind. So yeah, that's we have a Court of the Thorn Queen or something like that. I don't really know. All I know is we've got lots of chain rasps, and it'll actually be quite nice to have all of these guys done because they are a serious chunk of the army, of the number of figures that we've got. You know, if we've got 70 figures, having 30 of them knocked off the table in the first week would be, I mean, that's chef's kiss right there, isn't it? You know. Now, I normally do all of my painting on stream, so the fact that we've actually broken with that and done a little bit off stream with the with the airbrush, I'm very disappointed in myself. However, I think periodically during this challenge I might need to do it again to actually get a little bit of it done off stream, if that makes sense. I know certainly I've got a couple of days holiday booked, and I'm not taking this too seriously, although clearly I am if I'm debating taking annual leave in order to get my Warhammer challenge done. But it's just sat there, so you know, if I need to take it, I will. But yeah, we might actually end up doing some of this off stream, which is unusual, but as I say, I do want to try and get it actually complete. It might mean doing the unthinkable and painting off stream. Cool. The reason I'm actually sort of a bit even explaining that is because I haven't painted off stream since I started painting on stream. It's almost like one begets the other now. Literally everything that I have painted in the last how long have we been going now? A year? Very nearly a year. In fact, oh shit, I think it might actually be our streamiversary coming up. Yeah, everything that I've painted in the last year has been done on stream. That's kind of mad. Hadn't realised that. Or, well, I'd realised it, I just hadn't really put it into words. yeah, that's I don't know. I think that might just be how I paint now. I think it might just be a thing that in order to paint, it will be on stream. I don't know. Don't think it's a bad thing. There's nothing that I would think about painting that I wouldn't think about streaming it, if that makes sense. Anything that I would paint, I would stream painting it. Yeah, exactly. There is no downside. It's just now a thing that you do, isn't it? Oh, hang on, we've finished our weird synthwave. There we go. We'll find some more weird synthwave to listen to. The reason that we are on the old non-copyrighted music is because we are back on YouTube as well. I figured I'd give it another go. It's been a little while since we tried it. It'd be quite nice to see if we can slowly build up a presence on both platforms. So obviously, if you find yourself with 5 minutes and nothing to do, please do follow the link to YouTube down below and drop us a little shout on there. I very much will be looking to do videos. They will mostly be little clips and snippets of painting models. But I'm sure you won't get spammed with them because they are a bit of a way in the future at the moment. I can't bring myself to spend too much time on YouTube at the moment. So at the moment we'll just be going live and hoping that slowly people start to see it. I do have a restream chat open, I think, because that's how I do it. I go live via restream. So I should be able to see if anybody wants to chat on YouTube, but I can't picture it myself. I'm sure that anyone sensible is going to go, well, why don't we just go over to Twitch where all the chatty chat stuff goes on. But yeah, it's there just in case. So that's why we are back on the non-copyrighted music. Plus, you know, even elevator music deserves its time in the spotlight. Oh, it's another one of these. I didn't realise I had that many of these. I must have like three full units, I reckon. Oh God, we are splurging this paint everywhere at the moment. I think I've managed to pick up a hanger-on as well. Yeah, I have, but get out of it. Oh, my shoulder is starting to give up though. I really do need to make a trip to the old doctors to see if they can tell what the fuck is wrong with me, because that's starting to get a little bit uncomfortable now. We'll go as long as we can this evening, but obviously I do have to bear that in mind, and I don't want to be too late, because of course I have to be up tomorrow in plenty of time for D&D, because yes, we are D&Ding again tomorrow. I am DMing. It's been a little while since I've done any of it. My previous group, we did a session when we introduced a new player, and the majority of the group weren't able to play for a little while. So we did a session where we introduced a new player, and they had no experience of the game whatsoever. So what we did was a sort of interactive character creation, because they didn't know what they wanted to play. So that's what we're doing tomorrow. It will be interesting, because this will be the first time that I've done it with a full group of people who actually know what they're doing ish with D&D. So they probably have a lot of preconceptions about what sort of character they would want to play, but the whole idea of the session is that it's a sort of, I don't know what I want to play, I don't know the setting, let's see if we can roll all those things into a sort of interactive character creation. So I mean, I know I'm talking to probably a couple of the players here in stream anyway, but that's what we'll be doing. It will be interesting to see how experienced players handle it, because I think there is an element that people who know what they're doing will gravitate to sort of preconceived responses to stimulus. So the idea is that I put a challenge or something in front of them, and then judge from the way they respond to it what sort of character they might appreciate playing. You know, if you say to them, oh, do you think you would be playing a highly perceptive character? They might be better off playing a rogue, a monk, a ranger, something like that, you know, that traditionally have quite high precision value, perception values. If it's a case of, no, we tend to respond more to direct stimulus rather than subtle hints and clues, maybe you'd be better off playing a barbarian, or you know, something along those lines. But it will be over a reasonable size session, so that you get multiple responses to various stimuli. So it'll be an interesting session to run, I think. Oh, that's an awkward one to get to. They nestled that chain away right in there, didn't they? Cheeky boys. Right, a little bit on his axe head. A lot of these models do wobble around like shit, don't they? We've nearly finished the chain rasp. What we're going to do is we're going to finish the chain rasp, and then we're going to take a little tiny break, just for me to wet my whistle, clean my brushes, rinse my water out. This is actually another nicely posed chain rasp model. Look at that. There's a lot of dynamism to a model like that. Oh, that's the other thing I discovered, is that Hero Forge has a subscription model, which I didn't know. And their subscription model has 2 tiers, one of which includes digital download. Now, I 3D printed on my filament printer one of my D&D characters the other day, so I decided that I was going to download the model and then I was going to 3D print it. Now, it is a filament print and the gun did break, so I've had to re-glue that, but and I have done it on my little one's silk dual colour shiny print, but I think that that is actually quite an acceptable 3D print. You can certainly tell that he's a cowboy. So I am severely tempted, especially with playing in the Adventurers League. You actually get five free STL downloads per month, and it's like $19 a month if you pay month by month, which isn't an awful lot, but they're $7.99 each for the STL files otherwise, and I'm thinking that that's actually a great deal. And every time I create a new character for Adventurers League, I could have a custom made mini, which prints out in about an hour at a reasonable detail. And if I wanted to, I have got a 0.2 nozzle, which does whack the detail on the bamboo printer right up. It's just that prints take forever. So I generally just stick with the 0.5mm nozzle because, well, it's easier, isn't it? I mean, there wasn't a question in that, but yeah, I mean, I've got my resin printer, so I can, you know, once you've downloaded the files, you're not like, oh, you get one print of it and that's it. They're your files then to do with as you please. And to be honest with you, I can load them up into Blender and adjust them in there if I wanted to. So, you know, I can edit the files as well and resculpt them and what have you. So, do you know what? I think I might go for it. It seems like a bit of a no-brainer, to be honest with you. Oh, I'm flacking paint there. I need to be careful that I don't end up flicking that everywhere, because that will ruin the palette. Oh, okay. I wasn't aware that Disaster had a subscription, but that's interesting. Yeah, I think I might give it a go. It certainly seems like it would be a I think it would definitely get its use. Now that's stone, isn't it? But the grating itself is metallic, so we're gonna paint that in there. That's going to be a great little spot for rust effects, trust me. Might look a bit sketch right now, and the same with that cage as well. Look at that. Oh, look at all of these details that can get rusted over. Oh, beautiful. Paint, paint, paint you silver. Now, I must admit, I was painting this earlier and the bloody chain broke on this. So I mean, that is, as you can see, that is flimsy as hell. He wibbles and wobbles around. But hopefully, I mean, I did use plastic glue, so hopefully that that stays in one piece now, but I think forevermore that's going to be a weak point, as it were. And I don't really know how to... Oh God, how do you hold it to stop that from being a weak point? Because look, it's just on this tiny bit of chain there. Oh man. I think we're going to need some more paint for one thing. But yeah, Mouldy, I see your point about you know, every now and again, if you're not using a printer, then the subscription is probably, well, it's not really worthwhile. But for somebody with a printer, it's almost like a no-brainer. It's like, why wouldn't you choose to have their 5 free per month sort of thing? And they roll over as well, so it's not as if, you know, if you don't use them, you lose them. So you could turn around and like not print anything for like 10 months and then have 50 free files to download. At which point you could probably flesh out most of a campaign with, you know, monster miniatures. Because although it says Hero Forge, you can create like monsters in there as well. Is this the flimsiest model ever? I'm not sure, but I think it's got to be up there. Yeah, that was probably the thing that sold it to me, because I was like, oh well, I don't know that I'm going to want 5 a month. You know, even if I went 4 weeks a month to Adventurers League, and I was starting a new character every time I go, I'm sometimes not going to use 5 miniatures in a month. But the fact that you can just turn around and go, well, I'm going to put it on hold for 3 months, that makes it pretty much, like I say, it's pretty much a no-brainer. Oh God, I do feel this might be the flimsiest model in the range. Look at him. So it's not just the padlock on a chain flail type thing. It's this here. How that hasn't broken already, I don't know. Games Workshop have got this obsession with really, really flimsy, thin connection points, which I don't understand. Well, I suppose I do. I suppose the idea is once you break it, you have to buy. No, I can't. Surely they're not. They're not actually evil. They're just cunts. Yeah. Yeah, certain models can just be, well, you know that certain models can be just too flimsy because you're watching me paint one. I mean, I'm not sure that it's integral to the miniature. But this whole range is pretty spindly, is pretty flimsy. This whole model range. So, you know, this guy, the whole lot of them are just kind of waiting to fall apart. I'm very surprised by how durable these are. Even if one of them has broken on me, I'm very surprised by how durable. Oh my god. There's just no way to hold it to stop it from pinging around like a bobblehead. Have you seen Mad Max? The Fury Road. The Nux thing in the front of the kid from About a Boy, whatever his name is. He's got an actual name. He's an actor, but I can't remember what his name is. Quite famous, done quite a lot recently. He's got a little bobblehead that as he's driving across the wasteland, it's just fucking pinging about everywhere. This model is like that. Look at it. It's just every... And I want to stop holding it with my index finger on my other hand because I keep putting my finger on bits that I've painted or bits that are going to ping off. Nicholas Hoult, yes, that's it. You know, About a Boy kid. God, even that chain itself is just super flimsy. I love it. Wow, he's actually quite spooktacular, isn't he? Look at that. So much opportunity for rust. Oh, it's going to be gorgeous. Glorious opportunity for rust. Right, let's pop him to one side because I'm fed up with his face. Right. Done all of them. Done that. Now we have these guys. And thankfully, almost all of these guys have just got they're stabby sticks to paint, which makes for quite nice, easy application of silver paint, really, because you just go, well, there we go, stabby stick done. Now I did sort of pre-texture these. When we were doing the bases, we added a tiny bit of the texture onto the blades because these things just look like super rusty blades. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they come up with the rust effect. So we've got 5 of these bad boys. I'm just a little sip of my drink. I mean, I say a little sip of my drink, but that was clearly a glug. Now here we go. We've got some railings. Now these are interesting because what we're going to end up doing, there's a few of the models in the army have these. Now anywhere that our gooey ghostly tendrils touch onto stuff like these railings or the floor in general, we're going to be doing the ghostly glow that we described with the green. So I'm going to paint them in, and obviously we're going to do the black wash, but then we will come along on these areas and hit them with an airbrush of pure white, and then attack them a little bit with that wash, that Poxwalker shade wash that we've got. Fingers crossed it looks good. That is the recipe that we're following. I think we're going to do all right. I think these are going to look okay. I'm very enthusiastic about this army. What the hell is that? There's a hair there. Got it. Just a cheeky little follicle. What in the hell is that? Oh, that's stonework by the looks of it. Yeah. Oh well, it'll all go green. Yeah, they are very, very scabby looking blades. And that one hasn't got hardly anything. Okay, cool. I think we've actually quite enhanced the scabbiness of these blades with our texture paint, because they really do look quite tetanusy. Oh shit, there's a lot of railings on this one. Fuck. Right, let's go to town, shall we? Cool, you're not telling me we've reached another. Oh no, we've got some tune there. Ooh. Oh, right. That's got most of that. Like I say, a lot of that silver is going to be overwritten when we do our plan for that area, but we'll get it on there now. The black wash will blend it all together, and then when we do that final spot light effect, it'll probably all just get overwritten, but we'll know it was there. You and me, folks, we'll know that that's what was there. Right, now this, we've got a little dagger in there, but that's kind of all we have got. I'm going to paint it. Oh, I think I must have snapped the very tip off of that dagger. Unfortunate, but these things happen. So intertwined with her hair, look. There's like a very, very tip missing. No, oh, I'm too high, There we go, get below it. Below it, burnt code, there we go. Yeah, well, we'll see how that comes out. Not confident about it, but now we have our hags. I don't actually know what these are called. I'm sure it's like Morn Merle or something. Morngul? Moaning Myrtle? I don't know. The lore behind this Nighthaunt stuff evades me, to be honest with you. It's just a case of Nagash hates everyone except for the ferryman guy. So everyone's undeath is just going to be pure evil. That's what I get from the backstory of every single one of these Nighthaunts, is that these broads liked healing people in life, so now they have to murder people you know, as you do. That's kind of how the whole lore for these things go, is that, you know, these people enjoyed doing something in life, so therefore we'll corrupt it, pervert it, and make them do the opposite in death. Because we're a dick, I guess. I mean, you know, it's Nagash. He's not exactly the sanest of dudes. But it just seems a bit samey. The guys who we were just painting who looked a bit horsey, apparently they were hunters in real life. So they enjoyed hunting. So now they still enjoy hunting, except it's hunting the living. Or some bullshit. I mean, it doesn't need to make sense, I guess, but it could at least be interesting. I think that should become a sort of catchphrase for Games Workshop. It doesn't need to make sense, but please can it be interesting? Because I don't really feel that is very interesting, if I'm honest with you. The backstory and lore behind a lot of the Nighthaunt. I've tried to look it up, and it just goes, yeah, these people like doing this in real life, so now Nagash punishes them by making them do it but evil. And I'm like, okay, right. Boring. Right, we now have a little pile of these guys to do. Which have these absolutely glorious looking scythes. Look at these. Oh, so spiky. So pointy and rusty and ugh. Right, and then now these are about the only ones that I've seen have the no, the great swordy ones don't have them. These have got little bits of chainmail under their cloaks, which is nice. We'll paint those in. Okay. Right, so these will all come up lovely when we paint the oil wash. And pretty much the only bits that are going to clean up are the very, very tips of those. So where we actually get a little bit onto the cloak beneath, it doesn't really matter. We'll try not to. Anything we do get on doesn't really matter. I'm so looking forward to putting that oil wash on. Now I have a feeling that we're not going to be ready for it. We've got a couple of bits more to do on these models. We've got some trim, things like these blindfolds and what have you. The handles for the weapons, so all of them need the handles for the weapons doing, which is actually quite a big job. It means going through the whole thing. Ooh. Ooh. And then we've got the wash itself to apply. Now I'm just trying to think of stream schedules for this week, because applying the wash is probably not going to be the most entertaining, but I think that you guys should be here for it. Because that's what we do, we share, don't we? Or something like that. Yeah, okay. So perhaps I will get to doing that on Monday. No, we probably won't. So Monday we're probably going to be tarting up the rest of these little details, because I think I might have it in me to finish up this silver tonight, but I don't think I've got much else, because it's been a long week. It had been a long week on Tuesday, and it just kept on fucking being a week. Which I thought was most unfair of it. I think that, you know, it probably should have just stopped at Tuesday. We'd all had enough. Nobody could be bothered with the week beyond Tuesday, and I'm pretty sure I speak for everyone everywhere when I say that. I don't know, we were talking about this at work, and I think it's a very weird time of year, because no one's yet had a chance to get sad, you know, the seasonal affective disorder, and yet we are all starting to get out of bed, and it's dark, and we're home for not more than an hour or so, and it gets dark, and you know, you don't normally think about it, at least until the clocks change, but I think it's enough to make people just think, oh God, I've had enough. You know, oh, this week is endless, and you might find yourself thinking, oh God, been a tough week, but I think that we probably discount the fact that everybody is already starting to feel a little bit of those winter blues. And I know a couple of years ago, before I changed jobs, I was certainly finding myself of an evening going to bed at 9 o'clock because there was nothing really to stay up for. And staying up was just boring. There's nothing to be up for. So I think that was a little bit of that, you know, seasonal malarkey. I lost my ability to speak there for a moment. Do apologise. Right. Oh, I'd love more tea, thank you. Oh my God, my child is still awake because it's weekend. Oh, nearly done. This guy is... Oh, look at that. There's a cheeky bit of chainmail up. Oh, look at that. That's almost... Oh, it's like a little upskirt shot. Glad I said that during an advert break, because... get in there. Shit. Okay, maybe that was a bit of a big brush to try that with, but... Right, that's looking pretty good. I think that's supposed to be the bell ringer or something of the squad. You know, bell ringer, ruckus bringer. Now, I discovered that this guy is actually a character. He's not a whatever the fuck these are, the Reapers or something. He's a cairn wraith, which I didn't know. I was looking at the model and I went, hang on, that's not a normal one. For one thing, this one definitely has bony fingers. Whereas a lot of the others, I have painted them as bone because I think it's kind of thematic. They look like spoopy skeletons, therefore they get skeleton fingers. But I don't think the rest of them are actually supposed to be skeletons, whereas this one is a wraith, a cairn wraith. And wraiths were always a skeleton in a robe back in the day, the old models for them. I did like the old wraith model, to be honest with you. But that's what that guy is supposed to be. I just realised I didn't actually put enough paint on my palette. To make much of a difference, so a little bit extra there. Right, bear with me a second. Right, back to it. Let's get these guys done, because I've just realised that I've got this guy. I got the big ass lady Oleander something, Olinda, to do. I've got the I'm going to call them Blade Geist. I can't remember what these things are called, but it'll be Geist or Ghoul or something, Revenant or Reaper or some shit like that. I don't mean to be dismissive of the names that Games Workshop has very cleverly thought up for all of these things. Geist, Ghoul, Reaver, Grim, something or other. It's just that they don't hold any interest for me because they're really boring names. But a challenge is a challenge, and we have a challenge, and we are challenging the challenge, and we are winning the challenge. Maybe. I don't know. Think we're winning? I mean, we are... How long since we started? We've got 21 days left until Halloween. We have 1,112 models left to go. I don't know whether to paint these weapons as weapons or should they just be ghosty balls. I'm just going to leave them ghosty. They're done. Done, done. Done, done, done. Done, done, done. So yeah, I think we are actually winning the challenge at the moment. We've got 21 days left until Halloween. We have 1 million miniatures to do, but we've done nearly half of them. No, we've nearly done nearly half. Oh my god. Okay, fine. No, we're not winning the challenge. We're just sort of treading water with it. I like these swords. Well, that arm didn't get much of a spray, did it? Thank you. They're quite evil looking dudes. There's a lot of movement in these poses of these models though. Look, I mean, look at it. They're all over the place. I like it. I think it's very, very interesting, but I don't know whether they overdid it. Nah, there's no such thing as overdoing it when it comes to the grim darkiness. The grimmest of darkest. And what better for grimmest, darkiest, but spoopy ghosts. Here we go. Ghoul Timber. Well, it's not actually. It's Spooktober. Forgot what month it is. Shit. Good job. Nothing actually happens in October, like birthdays or anything wise. Now, I know I said that I probably wouldn't be doing a lot of contrasting metallic colours, but I think that possibly these swords might warrant a little bit of gold on them somewhere, you know, across the quillions. Howdy, Shiny Mew, welcome in. How are you? I hope you're having a good evening. Or not so much of an evening because you're in the US, I believe. So probably around about just after lunchtime. No, we don't engage with Orktober. I'm sorry, I can't accept October as a realistic option. I appreciate what everyone tries to do to try and normalise orcs, but they can't be normalised. Everyone just needs to accept that orcs will never be accepted. Just accept that orcs won't be accepted. Unless it's a beautiful second edition orky orc army, not this sort of wow madness that has currently taken over everything. I say currently from about 2003 onwards. How are you, Shiny Mew? How is your... Oh no, I've offended because you're all about the goblins, aren't you? Goblins are fine. We can accept goblins. It's just orcs that are a problem. I do hope you're doing well. And welcome into the stream. You join us as we're dropping our challenge models because we can't be bothered to put them into the holder. Like a normal person would. There we go. Last little bit of paint, hopefully, and then we'll be on to other things. Well, but not tonight, we won't. Okay, I would love to hear what bullshit that was, because I honestly have no idea. The last time I particularly looked at the rules for, let's see, what did you put? Orc with a K, so I'm assuming 40k. The last time that I actually looked at the rules was 3rd edition. I have not played the game since 3rd edition. And even by 3rd edition, I was starting to see the writing on the wall for me. And I wasn't terribly fond of 3rd edition, even though it was actually quite a good edition of the game. They set a goal, which was make a 40k game for larger armies, and then they did so, which, you know, you've got to admire them for that. They gave themselves a target, they achieved that target. But I wasn't terribly impressed after a lot of the natty lunacy of 2nd edition went away in favour of a much more streamlined and effective game mode, and I lost a lot of love for it at that point, and so I never really went back. So since then, I have been almost entirely a modeler and painter and collector of things, even if the modelling and painting and collecting side of things has been quite quiet. So yeah, by all means, feel free to tell me what that bullshit was, because I don't actually know. But I assume it was hilarious. Or in order for it to be referred to as bullshit, it must be hilarious. Otherwise, I will dispute the bullshit tag. That one was a bit simpler. Okay, we are yeah, I mean, luck based was quite good fun in 2nd. You know, I can remember facing off against an orc army where their own artillery kind of killed their own force. Okay, yeah, I mean, Ghazghkull always has been quite a force to be reckoned with. So I'm not that surprised, but yeah, I imagine he was probably a bit of a machine. Get it? A bit of a machine. Because I think is that when they created that enormous travesty of a model, the huge great thing that was supposed to represent Ghazghkull. And I remember looking at my little 2nd edition version of Ghazghkull with his little grunt friend Makari, his banner bearer, and thinking, what has the world become? What a poor excuse for a Ghazghkull Magurk Thraka do we have to put up with? That's right. I joined the Not My War Boss movement. Right, we have, this is our last blade flinging moron. That's what these guys are called, isn't it? I think. Sword swinging lunatic, I think they call them. That's Games Workshop's naming conventions. Blame Chapter House Studios. As we were talking about earlier on. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that model. It was just too big, too much, too huge. But I can appreciate, you know, it was actually a nice model. It did nothing for me, that's all. Right, how are we looking there? We've got all the chains done. Yep, that's all good. We have a final... We have one final model to paint the metallics on. Holy shit. There's not actually an awful lot of metallics to do. I'm thinking about doing this bit behind her head. I do like how, can you see how the contrast paint that we painted on has brought up the skull underneath her drapery a bit? Yes. Right, we have a... Jesus Christ. I don't actually know how these little ghosty things are attached, but I just keep feeling like they're going to ping off in my hand. Which is unfortunate, because if I don't know how they're attached, I don't know how they're bloody going to go back on if that does happen. Right, we've got a chest there. Oh god, there's a little finger and stuff. Right, easy. Fuck. I mean, if anybody knows any tips or tricks for holding this doof, then I would love to know them. Right, we've got the chest there. We'll paint the chest. We'll paint the hourglass, or rather the hourglass frame. I'm not going to paint the actual glass. I just want to do the frame of it, which I'm going to be quite cautious to try not to get it on the glass, because at the moment the glass is quite a nice white colour, which is going to look a bit shonky when we spray it, not spray it, but cover it all in black. But we can probably avoid, or when we come to clean it off, we can probably get most of that. Oh, the back of it is just black. That's fine. There's only so much of it that we'll be able to see anyway. Right, and then I think apart from that, we've got her stick. Let's paint her stick, shall we? Do I do the thing behind her head? What is that supposed to be made out of, I wonder? I think that we're going to make that some form of magic gem. Seems only fair. After all, she has to have something going for it. Now, do I do that headdress thing in a metallic colour? I think I'm going to. I don't know quite what it is or what it's supposed to be, but I think that that could look quite nice as a sort of metallic-y headdressy type thing. Obviously it's all going to get painted black when we put the wash on, so when I come to clean that up, that should just have a little bit of metallic glow underneath it. Right, last little bit for the stream tonight. So folks, we will be back this week on Monday. I think, yeah, it's a Thursday D&D session this week, so it will be Monday, Wednesday and Friday, and possibly a weekend stream as well if we are feeling all good and golden. We are slowly starting to get back into the hurdy-gurdy of streaming. You know, we had a bit of a break. It was unfortunate because we were doing quite well, and then, you know, we had sickness and various other different bits and pieces, but we are back on track now. We're back on track and we're having a great time with it as well. And we have a challenge to be getting on with. That's right, we have our gorgeous Nighthaunt models. Anyone got any particular favourites yet? I am definitely liking... Ah, thank you, Shiny Mew. I will have a look at it. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to pull it up on screen during this stream, but hopefully if you join us next time, we might be able to. You might be able to remind me. We might be able to have a look at it. I am quite liking the Cairn Wraith. I do like this this bint here, and I do like our executioner dude here that we'll call Dave, Executioner Dave. So yeah, we've got a few bits and pieces to be getting on with, and then we'll be coming along with our black oil wash over everything, and that's when things get scary. I do hope you'll join us for that one. In the meantime, I'm going to take you lovely people, and I will get you to go and say hello. I'll get you to go and say hello to Luna Bacon. I do very much appreciate everybody who's dropped by. Hope you have a great one, and I do hope you'll go and say hello to Luna and enjoy her stream. She's a very, very talented painter, certainly far more talented than what you've been watching so far. So I do hope you'll join us on the next one, and I hope you'll have a lovely weekend. Take care now, folks. We'll see you again soon.